This was Native American Walmart. All their food and clothing came from the animals, the plants, and right here. This is the shelter and the rocks. They were very comfortable here. Water, reptiles, turtles, snakes, fish, cattails, cactus, wild grapevines, and I'm an amateur. God knows what all of you can do.
Pawpaw, how did the Native Americans get around with all the stuff so steep?
Oh, but they followed the same thing we did down around the river. Rivers run pretty smooth. They're rapids or waterfalls. So they just followed riverbanks. Your riverbanks is animals. Buffalo, deer, cut trails. A lot of your made highways today is following old buffalo trails. I mean, the modern interstate, somebody follows the old buffalo trails.
So they followed buffalo.
And yeah, deer, buffalo, creeks, rivers. You ever been on a road that just does this all the time? Like right here, you follow these creeks, the road followed the water.
So they just follow anything that they can eat, drink, or
yeah, they stay close to
anything that they can digest.
That's right.
Yeah, Ranger Nolan. So I am a IIC intern. So I'm still a student. I'm studying to become a park ranger, and my school is really wonderful, Southern Utah University, to have this internship program where I can be, living the dream job while still pursuing the degree. So yeah, education ranger.
What Native Americans lived here?
Oh, yeah, so we had two main Native American civilizations that lived here throughout the years. First, we're talking about 1,200 years ago. We had the ancestral Puebloans. And these guys were pretty advanced for like a Native American group. They were, pottery makers. They were cliff dwellers. Ever heard of like Mesa Verde, where they built a giant city into a cliff? Those guys lived here in Zion National Park too, which is really cool. Eventually, they kind of disappeared from this area. There's a 200-year drought. We have evidence of that. And that kind of forced them to leave. Eventually, the Southern Paiutes found their way here. And the Southern Paiutes, they were a bit more nomadic. They were basket weavers. They would live here during the cooler months and then go up in the mountains north of here for the summer months. Yeah, and they were nomadic and so two different civilizations. Paiute, Paiute's just their tribe. Yeah. So ancestral Puebloan. Puebloan means like community in Spanish. So they were a community, and Paiute is the name of the tribe. But the ancestral Puebloans, they saw this river and they saw an opportunity to live off of it. So they would build irrigation canals going into the floodplain areas here where those cottonwood trees are, and they would grow corn. They would grow all sorts of vegetables and such. In fact, they bred their own species of corn, which is still around today, which I think is absolutely impressive. Something else that they did, which I think is really cool, is that we got wild turkeys running around this canyon, right? Did you happen to run into one? You saw a wild turkey?
Ran into about 4 deer and I don't know how many turkeys.
Yeah, lots of deer, lots of turkeys, right? Well, they actually domesticated these turkeys. So they rounded them up and they put them in pens and such. And then they have all this food and they needed it to last them the whole time, right? So in order to store it, they would go up to kind of where those cliffs meet those trees, that kind of area. Maybe not here specifically, but then they'd build cliffside granaries. So they would take some stone and build this area where rodents couldn't get into it, right? And there's a few places in the park where there's evidence of that. One of them is at Stop 7, the Weeping Rock area in Zion. And that granary is still around, which is so crazy because that's over 1,200 years ago that was built. So yeah, that's how they lived off the rugged terrain. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Make sure to come visit Zion National Park. It's very fun.
Native Americans would have been harsh in the grass seeds. The whole little area right there. The water out there would have held fish, turtles, snakes, minnows, different reptiles. They got worms, little grub worms. You take and dig them out. like a woodpecker, and they're good to eat. They're full of fat and protein. If you're really hungry, that would help. See, buddy? See this? This is how it breaks rocks. See the rocks are broke? Oh, they got thorns. If the rocks are broke, see they're moving? In a couple of years, it's going to get bigger. This is going to crack and break off. Because this root goes way back down in there. It's growing bigger every day. Back down in there. That's what makes rocks along with water and erosion and what have you.
Hey, Mom. Are you loving it?
Yeah. Oh, that's cute of you and Claire. Take one of me and Dad, right?
We're in Zion's National Park in Utah. And there's wild grapevines everywhere. Patches. Beautiful. You can live here. Water, cattails, we got a lot of wild food here.
What kind of wild food have you
Oh,
seen?
you got cattails, which is roots is like potatoes, the tops like boiled corn. The small fresh shoots is like asparagus. Eat it. The thistles makes a good salad.
Why does everything in the desert have points?
Points or like thorns
Yeah,
or,
thorns.
or pokies, right?
Pokies.
Yeah, so
Whatever you call
it all has to do with like adaptations. You know what an adaptation is, right? Like physical changes that a plant will undergo to live in a certain area, right? So this yucca here, right? It's kind of pokey. Oh, jeez. I like did that a little too hard. Kind of shocked me. It's storing a lot of water, right? And every little bit of water in the desert matters. So if you're actively being eaten by an animal who wants to eat your leaves, right? You're constantly losing water, right? Because your leaves are being. So basically, it's just protecting itself. It doesn't want to be eaten at all. So this right here, this is a yucca, right? And since the whole theme of this is like how to live off the land, right? This plant is super duper interesting because Southern Paiutes, they definitely looked at this plant and wondered how the heck can I use this, right? So they would cut the leaves off, soak it in water, and they would like weave with it. And they'd make baskets, right?
Like sewing.
Yeah, like sewing. But the best use, in my opinion, was they made sandals out of them. And those were like the
Where their
height.
feet didn't get burned.
Yeah, their feet didn't get burned. They can walk on rocks and stuff. Or, you know, make sure that they didn't step on like a cholla cactus.
Oh yeah, that would be bad.
That would be bad, right? Also, another way this plant was used is that its root bulb, the yucca root, is naturally soapy. So like if you got some water on it and rubbed it, it would make suds, and it was like a basic solution. And you know, Southern Paiutes would use it for shampoo, and it's still used in shampoos today actually. Is that really cool?
Why does the cactus have so many?
Oh, same reason. Cactus has thorns to protect itself. Yeah.
Yeah, but I heard that you could like boil a cactus, like cut it off the limb, boil it,
Or like
torch
grill it, like
grill it.
nopales, right? Cactus tacos. Yeah, I've definitely heard of that. Coming from Southern California myself, I definitely saw that. We passed by a lot of prickly pears, and of course a prickly pear grows a little pear, right? And if you get the thorns off very carefully, don't pick it up with your bare hands. But if you get the thorns off, you got a decently sweet fruit that the deer love eating around here.
Hey, tell my dad in them around the corner the deer's up here. Never mind.
Oh my god, it's standing up at us.
Y'all see you?
Yeah.
Y'all are waving at the squirrel. Sam, are you actually waving at the squirrel?
Look at that, Bobby. Look, Bobby, right there, you see him?
Sam's waving at the squirrel. Don't get too close, Brad.
Red, he bites.
He's
He
a wild
bites hard.
animal, baby.
Grab him if you want to.
They've already told y'all.
That's why rocks fall. Roots is forcing that rock open.
Hold on. I've got great
Come back
plans.
here, Whitney. Get off there. Oh, there, that's over the gate. Get off here.